Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. The high seas, traditionally a domain of commerce and connection, have turned into a theatre of lethal consequence. For the last 4 days, a harrowing narrative has unfolded in the waters off the coast of Oman and the Strait of Hormuz. We are talking about three separate military strikes on commercial vessels in just 4 days, resulting in the tragic deaths of three Indian seafarers. Now, New Delhi has taken the rare and serious step of summoning the US Charge d'Affaires Jason Meeks. This is twice in 3 days. This isn't just a diplomatic formality, it is a clear message that the life of every Indian seafarer is a red line. MV Marivex, first of the three ships that was hit by the US, is believed to have turned off its AIS system as it allegedly attempted to break the US naval blockade and enter Iranian waters. The managers of the MT Seth Bello, on which the three Indians were, who unfortunately lost their lives, is a Dubai-based IOS Marine FZE. It categorically denied any links to Iranian oil in a statement published on Thursday. The firm has called on the US Navy to provide proof of non-compliance by the crew that led to the attack. At the heart of this crisis is a phenomenon known as the shadow fleet or the dark fleet. These are vessels that operate outside the radar of international shipping regulations. They hide their ownership, disguise their flag, and turn off their tracking systems to transport sanctioned cargo, mostly oil, across the globe. They are the conduits for Iran to bypass Western sanctions. But why do they operate? Because when the global oil trade is squeezed by sanctions, the incentive to move banned cargo becomes massive. However, by engaging in these deceptive practices, these ships become targets. The US military, in its aggressive campaign to enforce its blockade against Iran-linked shipping, is now striking these vessels. And caught in the crossfire are the Indian sailors, men and women who are simply doing their jobs, often unaware of the geopolitical web that their vessels are tangled in. The Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 was the turning point that led to the growth of these ships that continue to operate in grey areas. Unilateral sanctions by the US and the European Union make it difficult for these ships to operate within their waters. However, they continue to function as part of the necessity to ferry crude from some of the largest sellers of oil. Well, this tactic of military strikes on shipping is not entirely new. We saw a similar, though perhaps more overt, campaign in the Caribbean under what was called Operation Southern Spear. The US military began striking vessels they were alleging transporting narcotics from Venezuela. In that campaign, the US made it clear they weren't just interdicting the boats, they were destroying them. The tragedy that we are seeing today is the same. It's the same kinetic approach that is being applied in the crowded essential energy corridors of the Gulf. The US military justifies these precision strikes as necessary to disable the engines of the vessels that refuse to comply with orders. But for India, the cost is being paid in blood. India is one of the world's largest suppliers of maritime talent. We have nearly 18,000 seafarers currently operating in this high-risk zone alone. Officials estimate that around 622 Indian seafarers aboard 13 India-flagged vessels are currently operating in the waters to the west and east of the Strait of Hormuz. The Directorate General of Shipping has also now issued a high alert maritime security advisory. The DGS has instructed vessels and crews to immediately report suspicious activity, security threats, or maritime incidents to designated Indian authorities, including the DGCOM Center and the Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean Region. Well, India has the world's second largest seafaring workforce, with around 3.2 lakh Indian seafarers serving on vessels globally, making the safety of merchant shipping a significant national concern. In the last decade, Indian seafarers have grown from around 100,000 to 350,000, according to Indian government statistics, which account for around 12% of the global workforce. But just an advisory, that's on paper. The reality is that our sailors are the most exposed people on the planet right now. To our seafarers, the warning from New Delhi is clear: exercise extreme caution, avoid designated high risk transit zones where possible, and stay in constant contact with the Indian missions. But the real burden of responsibility lies with the powers playing this game of chess. If the US is intent on a blockade, it cannot be at the expense of neutral commercial crews. Is it acceptable for Indian sailors to pay the price for a conflict between two global powers? Well, New Delhi has demanded that these attacks cease immediately, and while our strategic partnership with Washington is deep and multifaceted, the summoning of a top US diplomat twice in 1 week is a signal that the partnership is currently under immense strain. As we continue to monitor the situation, our prayers are with the families of the fallen, and our focus remains on the thousands still at sea, caught in a war that they did not start, but they cannot escape. For now, this is the latest on this developing story. Thank you for watching.